To solve a two-step equation, we have to make sure we're doing the opposite of the operations we see. So because we see multiplication and subtraction, we're going to need to divide and add. So we start by adding 2 to both sides, which leaves us with 4x equal to 20. Then we want to divide by 4 on both sides, which leaves us with x equals 5. When you go to fill in your Scantron, you need to make sure you put a number at the top and then bubble in that number below it. And only one bubble can be filled for each column. Solving this two-step equation requires us to subtract and divide. So we'll start by subtracting 5 on both sides, which leaves us with 3x equals 30. Then divide by 3 on both sides, which leaves us with x equals 10. You can fill in your Scantron starting all the way to the left or all the way to the right, as long as there's one number in each box and you bubble in the number below it that matches. Evaluating this requires order of operations. So when we look at A, we want to solve what's inside the parentheses first, and that's going to give us 4. And then we want to go and do the exponential part of the problem, which gives us 36. And then we want to multiply, which gives us 20. And then we can add to get 56. For letter B, we're going to do the part of the problem inside the parentheses first, then multiply, and then we can add to get 13. For letter C, it's the same thing. We're doing what's inside the parentheses first and writing down everything else that we haven't used. Now there's 2 parts where we have to multiply here, and then we can subtract to get our answer. To solve this division problem, we have to make sure we have one number in the numerator and one number in the denominator. So we have to subtract first before we can solve. So when we subtract first and then divide, we get an answer of 4. Properties. So we've got to decide if it's commutative, that means we're changing the location. If it's associative, that means it's the way it's grouped, or we're looking for parentheses. And if it's distributive, we should see addition and multiplication, so 2 operations. Here, because it says A, B, C, A, B, C, and the only things that have changed are what's inside the parentheses, this is associative. For letter B, we have 7 times n and n times 7, so the location is what changed. So this is commutative. Here we have x, y, z, x, y, z. So again, it's the way it's grouped. It's parentheses, so it's associative. And then here I'm seeing 4 times r and 4 times q, as well as addition. So because it's the 2 operations, we're looking at the distributive property. Here we need to figure out what the problem's asking us to solve for. So we see that we're given that the pond has a diameter of 20 and is means equals. So we know the diameter equals 20. We're told that the formula we're going to use here is pi r squared. And we know from other problems in class that pi is going to equal 3.14. We're not told what the radius is here, but we're told the diameter is 20. In a circle, the diameter goes all the way across, and the radius is only half. So if we take half the diameter, we'll get the radius. And if we take out pi and put in 3.14, if we take out r and put in 10, we can solve this using the order of operations. So we're going to want to do 10 times 10 first to give us 100, and then multiply 3.14 times 100, which will give us 314 feet squared. Here we're told that the total amount we have is $32, and we're saving $22 per month. Per is our hint to tell us that we're going to be multiplying. We want to buy a Wii, and it's going to cost a total of $264. We need to be able to write the equation and solve. So since we know it's $22 per month, and we're asked to find how many months, we can guess that this is the unknown. So if that's the unknown, it has to be the variable. So if it's $22 per month, and the month is unknown, we'll make that n. We already have $32, and we need a total of $264 to buy the Wii. If we go ahead and solve the problem the way we've been solving it before, we'll get 22n is equal to $232. Divide by 22 on both sides. And when we divide by 22, we end up with about, doesn't work out even, 10.5. But because we need to know how many months, and we won't have enough money at 10 months, we'll need to save for 11 months in order to get the Wii. Okay, if we have red and green Jolly Ranchers, 95 all together. Green is going to stand, or we're going to use G to represent green. We want to write an expression, so we're not solving anything, we're just writing something. So if we have the jar filled with the two kinds of Jolly Ranchers, and there's 95 in there total, if we remove all of the green Jolly Ranchers, all that's left will be red. So if we take the total and remove the green Jolly Ranchers, all that'll be left in the jar is red. Jan has $Y, so we have the variable. She spends 8, which tells me that we're subtracting, and then gives half away. So the first thing we need to show is that she's spending 8. And once she's done that, then she divides it in half. If you wrote the problem like this, that would also be correct, although this is the way you're going to see it written on your test. So you need to know that these two mean the same thing.